All right. Well, so good Saturday morning, guys. Glad to have everyone here. Always excited on Saturday morning. And everybody always asks me about sometimes when they say, do you really just non-script on Saturdays? I think Ann will tell you we haven't discussed anything other than I asked her a little bit about her background in the industry. Other than that, we really shoot from the hip on Saturdays because we think we get the heart by people, we get to know them. And Cindy, are you going to be able to make us? I don't know very good on technology, but Cindy, can you fix this where we're getting the speaker pictures? I want to make sure you're in here as well.
I sure
So
will.
can you do that? And Ann, I want to just thank you before we get started for being on. I read your little bio. You've actually been in the industry. It's rare that I have someone I get on that I'm like, okay, well, this person has been in the industry as long as I have. That's I believe you said 26 years.
Oh, 23, 23.
23. Okay, so I still got you beat by a couple of years.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
But at any rate, I don't know a lot about your background, but we're going to start. I always like to start by just asking people how they got started in the industry because when I started, and you don't know my story probably, but I was really negative on the industry. I was someone who hid from the people. I was not interested. I was business owner, and I'm like, I call it down south, we call it one of those things.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what that thing was, but I knew I didn't want no part of it. I thought. But what you learn is that when you pray for something, you don't always get answered the way you ask.
Right.
I'm the first one to admit that. It took me a few years to realize I prayed and prayed for something to change. And I was introduced to this industry by Todd Rowland, by the way. He was not my sponsor, but I just met him at a meeting. Like most everybody knows Todd. And to be perfectly honest, I've said many times I was not impressed with this football coach. But what I didn't know was he was making pretty good money. And it was like, if he can do it, I can do it. And I never intended to be here 26, whatever number of years it is later. I expected to do this till I could figure out what I was going to do and then fell in love with what we do. But thanks for being on. I asked Cindy to really help me on this interview because she knows you way better than I do. I have not even met Ann in person. Heard a lot about her and a lot of success. So by the way, for those who don't know, she's the number two power ranker in the world, and she's also CEO level. And I'm not. She hasn't been with the company. What am I correct? 2 years.
It'll be 2 years in a month.
Okay,
Hmm.
so
And
almost two
Chris,
years.
she's built a lot of leaders. She has, um, goodness, Stacy, Dr. Laura, Buffy. I can't even name them all. You have so many that you build. She's a leader of leaders. She builds leaders.
Well, in this industry, if you don't have, there's those things. If you find a turtle on a fish, somebody helped them get there. So that's we all know that leaders build leaders, but you have the bottom. That's how you build a long term. And of course, Ann may not know that Cindy was the first person I sponsored into this company. So even
Awesome.
though she did decide to work till a little later on, so we always give her a hard time about that part.
He
So
does.
with that, and tell us a little bit about your background before you ever started in this industry. Well, I'd like to know who is Ann and where you're from. I
Yeah.
don't even know.
Yeah. So I live in St. Louis. I grew up here. And I'm one of five kids, and my husband and I actually our anniversary is tomorrow, 29 years. We
Congratulations.
Thank you. We lived in Oklahoma for 12 years, Colorado for 15. We moved back 2 years ago to help with my parents, just so it because all of it was falling on one of my sisters, and so we moved back to help with them. I have five kids. My oldest is 24. My youngest is 8.5, and so quite a range there. And but it's fun. It keeps me relevant, is what I've been told. When I had my youngest, I had her when I was 46. We didn't know it could happen, and it did. So she is absolutely a miracle. Some of you guys met her in Hawaii. She's truly a joy. So I started in this industry actually when I lived in Oklahoma, and I was introduced to a product, and it made a really big difference. I had had eczema my whole entire life. It was at the time it was just a skincare company, and I fell in love with the product. And my oldest was just about 9 months old, and I my mom told me that I needed to find something else to do, or I was going to drive her nuts because it was her first grandchild. And my mom worked in real estate, and she was just, and she lived in St. Louis. I lived in Oklahoma, and she's like, I mean, I have never seen this many pictures of a grandchild. Like, you need to find something else to do. And I was like, you're right, I do. So thankfully, I followed my tug and I started building that business. I followed the system, and we actually, I had an incredible business, and it was fantastic. I was there for over 20 years. It was fantastic until it wasn't. And so 3 years ago, I felt, I don't know another way to put it. I felt a tug to resign and to leave, and I did. And that, though it was scary, it was, I really do believe that following your tug is really important. And the reason I left, because I'm not a big proponent of, like recruiting people from another company, but everything had changed. The ownership changed, the product started changing, the comp plan changed. Everything was changing, and it wasn't what I signed up for anymore. But the biggest piece is at the end of 2022, I had a friend come to me, and she wanted to, she needed more money. And I couldn't look her in the eye and say, lock arms with me. I'll show you the way. Trust me, I'll teach you how to do this. I couldn't do that with a good friend of mine. And I'm like, oh, shoot, it's over. I mean, I can just stay and collect my check, or I've got to find something where I can help the new person win, and I can help people win at any level that they want to win. But if you can't help the new person win in this industry, you don't have a business.
You just said the most important thing, but is your confidence. You lost confidence in the prior company, and at one time you did, you were great, but then things changed, and I think that's important. So, what led you to PartnerCo? What made you? Because I know someone with experience. I can assure you, this was my second company, and we looked very serious. And now, obviously, the names was changed, but we were the same company. So we've really I've only been with two companies. So what really changed? What made you attracted?
Well, what happened was 3 years ago, I actually went to a new company, and I call it the Rebound. And I worked really hard, but there were holes in the comp plan, and people, like, though the products were good, they weren't the level of PartnerCo, and they weren't, and the comp plan had holes. And so when it says it's going to do this, but it really doesn't, it's really, like, it's very defeating. So I worked really hard for a year, and then 2 years ago I saw a post, and I started using the products. I had zero interest in coming and building a business here. I literally was like, I'm going to have to get a job. Who's going to hire me because I'm really high maintenance as an employee, I mean, so I was really, really resistant because I felt like I had gotten burned by the first company, and I felt like I got burned by that new company. You know what I mean? Not burned, but I just felt disillusioned, right? And so what happened was I was just going to sell the drops, and that's it. And then Stacy Woodford and I decided to go to PXP in Orlando in 2024. It was at the end of September, and we were blown away. I mean, basically, it's like, we got to meet different leadership there, just talking to different people in the bathroom, in line for recognition. And we actually didn't even go the whole time. We sat in the back, and we just watched the whole thing. Like, is this really real? Are these testimonials real? Are these people real? Is the leadership, like, is the authenticity, is this real? And we walked away, and we said, we're doing this. And so then we started, I got on the IPA like it was my job. I came back and told those people that had been signed up, like, I'm doing this, come with me. And And that was like beginning of October 2024. And that's how it got, that's really how we got started. And what I love here is I love the IPA. I love this call on Saturday mornings. Once I found out about it, I'm like, I remind my team every Friday night and every Saturday morning, like, get on Chris's call, because it's so important to see, I think, all the different personalities, right? That's really important. We have the technology that we can plug into things like this, regardless of where we live. But also, like, that IPA is just that consistency. And I'm just going to say this, Chris. I was in a company that was predominantly women, and I love that Brent and Todd started the IPA, right? I love that you're a man. Why I love women, but I love that because you treat this like a business. Todd and Brent treat it like a business. It's not a sorority. I was in a sorority. Nothing against sororities, but sororities don't pay you money. Clubs don't pay you money. And I wanted something where this is a business. I'm going to treat it like a business. I always treated my other business like a business, but when I walked away from there, I made a decision. I'm leaving the things I don't like. I'm bringing what I do like, and I'm moving forward. And so one of those things was, I am treating this like a business, and I'm going to treat other people to do the same thing, because I want business-like results, and that is an additional income stream.
I want to jump in for a second, Chris, because she what she was saying was about how you plug into the IPA like it's your job. There's so many people, there's people who can't plug in because they do have another job or they have an obligation at that time. And I understand that. But I think that's the one key thing that separates someone who has extreme success and someone who doesn't. It's the plugging in. So if you're here on Saturday because you can't make the IPAs Monday through Friday, that's key. If you're getting on evening calls, that's key. It's not because we want to keep you busy, it's because people like Ann and myself and Todd and Brent and Chris has run this call for 9 years or something. It's been a long running call, but it's because it is the business point. This is a volunteer business. You're in voluntary mode. If you don't treat it like you're going to do something and you make those commitments, it's what keeps your brain in the game, your mind in the game, and you see things. And so just, I'm so glad you said that, Anne, because that is, that's something that people just say, I've heard it before. I've heard it before. They're missing the point that every day your brain has to be in it, or you're not going to be in it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's the best way to start your business day, right? And then if you think about it, and I tell people, I said, I learn something every single time I get on the IPA. I learn something. I learn something every single time I get on Chris's call. I learn something. I always learn something. Every time I get on like a call where Dr. Plant's talking, or Dr. Strand, I don't care how many times Dr. Strand talks about the drops, there's always something new that I learn. And that, when you have that focus on, like, I'm going to keep learning, I'm going to keep growing, it's a growth mindset. And oh my gosh, we're a $400 million company and we're in over 50 countries. If you don't see the opportunity there and understand the infrastructure, debt free, Darren Zobrist as our CEO and John Wadsworth as like, you guys, like, hello, like, the opportunity, this is the best opportunity, really, out there. I mean, there is nothing better. And I really believe that. Like, I can sound like I'm hypey, but that's not hype. Like, that is truly, like, I know that this is the best.
Well, I think you got what you just said. Most people that have not been around the industry, you mentioned you've been here some up 20 plus years, so you know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
You know what you ran into with the problems, just like Cindy and I did. It's not that we didn't love the company we were with, but they had problems and they had things they could, and they ended up with trouble that they couldn't solve. And then so when this came Particle, Brent was actually made a message about that yesterday. If you saw Brent's live call, he talked about guys. I think sometimes we fail. We've got little things that are not perfect with the company, but yet Partico's a 3-year-old company.
Yeah.
Yes, it has brands that have been around a while, but it's a very unique, and I really refrain from using the word unicorn, in the early stages, but I don't know what else to call it. You got a
Yeah.
company that's as big as it is with proven products, with ownership that's proven track records. I mean, in both sides, it's just a unique, and it's not
Right.
to slam any other company. I just think that we're in a special place. And then you add to it the Bill of Rights and the comp plan's not changing. Those are
Right.
little things that you don't really realize, like you just mentioned. Your company started changing the comp plan. Cindy and I experienced the same thing. Things were changing.
Right.
It doesn't mean they were bad people. It meant they were probably in trouble trying to do some things to change it. Whereas our company is a little bit really unique. If you don't realize how unique, I mean, it's a debt-free company. I mean, what else can you say? It's a company that has no
Right.
debt. And it's because of the way it came to be. I mean, it's really unique. So, Ann, if you were saying one thing, what do you tell a person when they first start? What is the I just joined you. I've never been in network marketing. I'm kind of negative, but these drops work for me. So yeah, but I could use a little extra income. What do you say to me? What are you talking about? What are you trying to do to get me on the right track?
Well, I do try to get them to go ultimate as soon as possible if they didn't come in as ultimate, and follow the SOG. Really plug into that system, plug into the IPA. I do tell people to binge watch Todd's YouTube. And the reason why is because there's like I've talked about, there's so many different personalities. There's so much training on there. Your daughter's trainings are on there with all the product. I mean, there's so much richness there that people that don't have, they could really like condense their time learning about Partner Co. and the leadership here and the people here, and it helps boost their confidence. So that is something I do. I'm like, this is Todd's YouTube. I want you to binge watch it. Like while you're drying your hair, while you're getting ready, walking your dog, unloading your dishwasher, doing the dishes, because I think it helps people understand. And then I want them to get to an event, like a Partner Co event. Yes, if they can get to a Super Saturday, fantastic. But I've been telling my team to get to the event in Nashville. I'm like, if you want to have a great 2026 and you don't have a wedding and you don't have a family vacation planned, I want you to go to Nashville, because I know that that's going to make a difference for their summer. And then they'll go to PXP, and that's going to make a difference for the rest of the year. Like plugging into that stuff, I actually think it's even more important with Partner Co. than maybe some other my previous company, I probably could have missed some things because nothing was really changed. Like things were changing, but nothing was changing at those corporate events. It was the same song, different dance. I feel like with Partner Co, you actually really do get equipped to learn so that you can go do the do. I mean, that's the biggest piece here is people are like, I don't know what to do. Well, if we can teach them what to do from the beginning, like binge watch Todd, plug in, like get your boards downloaded, get trained on that, start doing the SOG, plug into all the things that we have here, because you're going to learn that you're part of it. You're not just like the wallflower, you're actually part of the community.
I know that that's very critical. And I mean, I will tell you this for me personally, when I started in the industry, one being a negative, and I was totally against doing this, but I was desperate for something
Yeah.
that I really tried to learn. And I mean, that's what I didn't spend time driving, listening to music. I listened to Jim Rohn.
Me
I
too.
listen, I'm a big believer that you have to not only listen to, you said Todd,
Yeah.
definitely to Brent, listen to people that have had success.
Yeah.
Same thing, it's great listening, but
Fantastic.
you also listening to do things to develop yourself, because self-development, guys, that is so critical, because most of us here, and I'm not calling out anybody on the call, but you're trying to believe in yourself. You're seeing people succeed, and
Mm-hmm.
you're hearing these stories, but down deep, you're wondering, can this be me?
Right.
And so those working on yourself, and by the way, don't think that that's foreign to anybody else. I had lots of doubts. Went for multiple years with no success, thinking, well, this would work, but I can't make it work. And I know there's people on the call that feel that way. And then you'll have your breakthroughs, but it won't break through if you don't continue to do the work. I mean,
Right.
you can't just you called it a member. I call it the club.
Right.
And that's okay. We love if you want to be in our club, we're glad for you to be here. But if you want to make money, you're going to have to do the detail work. Sort of like Kristen says with her gym. You mentioned Kristen and her products. And by the way, she's going to be doing a lot more product training. For those who don't know, every Tuesday night, she's doing a series now just
I love it.
learning product for people to plug in. There'll be no business thing. It's strictly about products, and you'll be able to put your customers on there. But I know this, if you don't learn what's going on and you don't really plug into what's going on, you're not going to have the confidence to move forward. And my business struggled, and I didn't think I could do it. But here was the other thing. What was I going to go do as a I didn't have no college degree. And I think that's where most people miss the point is that the difference was I was just didn't have a lot of options. It was like if I'm going to go do something
Right.
special again in life, I had to figure out what it was going to be. And I didn't want, and by the way, and I didn't want it to be network marketing.
Right.
And I
Well,
don't
no
know that
one
I
does.
still wanted it for 5 years to be
Right.
network marketing.
Right.
But
No,
it,
no one wants it to be this. I tell people it's wrapped in the funniest package, but but once you experience reoccurring income, you
Right.
forget about it. Like,
well,
right?
Cindy and I were on a call, and I couldn't help myself. We were on a call Thursday night. I'm one of the earlier ones to get paid with the company. They know that my bank happens to be one that gets the deposit quick. So
Mhm.
I'm on the call with Cindy, and they saw me looking at my phone because I'm just checking my bank deposit. I can't help myself on Thursday
He-
night. You'd think I'd get used to it. You just never get used to
No,
them
you
just
don't.
giving you money.
He's
And
like,
I,
we just got paid, everybody.
that's what I said. That was a real good thing on her call. I just interrupted, like I just got paid. Well, but so let's talk about. So you obviously we plug into the SOG. You want to plug in. Everybody knows plugging into the event is critical because you got to begin to believe. But every little thing, I mean, it makes such a difference. And I will tell you, I mean, to make the kind of money that we talked about, so many people here making really the top earners. You say, how do I get there? Well, they didn't get there overnight. They got there for doing the things you talked about. Cindy, I know you know. Why don't you ask her some questions that you think I don't know the answer? That you probably know a better way. When I asked her yesterday, I said, I said, oh, we just got off of Zoom. She said, I think that was the day before yet. I don't know what day it was, but she said, yeah, I know her pretty well. We've been just on the Zoom together. So,
Yeah, no, I think what Anne does so well and she delivers is just her ability to really get people to believe in themselves and
Mhm.
follow systems that are duplicatable because they do Anne is so good at just the things that you have to keeping it the main thing, the three-way calls, the um, those kind of things. So, and when you're talking to people on the call, maybe this is their first Saturday call. Maybe it's, because we get people every week, it's their first time being here. But when you started out, Chris mentioned it. I know that the first four presentations I did, literally I had family members that say, I don't think you're good at it. I mean,
Right.
I was that bad. I was really bad. So, and everybody's like, oh, you do such a good presentation. I didn't. I
Mhm.
got better and I listened and I got better. And
Right.
so your advice, because when you started 20 years ago, 20 plus years ago in the industry,
Mhm.
like Chris, you've told me many times you were a horrible network marketer for the first couple years, right? And
yeah.
so I love the way Chris is going down that, but and you can deliver that message to people so well, and I think that you do such a great job, as do many people on your team, of really helping people believe in themselves,
Mhm.
or how you believe in them before they believe in themselves, so they can see it. But tell the new person, like from a journey, from starting out, or maybe they've been here a year or two and they just haven't had the success yet. Just give a little bit of advice on really what makes that just change. And I know, Chris, you could do that too, as could I, but besides, it is just plugging in and getting better at what you're not good at, right? But
Yeah.
what would you say?
Yeah, so I do think, again, I mean, I joke that I need to go back and listen to Jim Rohn. I actually saw him at his last event before he passed. I went to like my husband and I went. It was many years ago. It was fantastic. I always joke that I've got to re-listen to Jim Rohn, um, because I quote things, from him, and my kids are like, "Ugh, Jim Rohn," But it's great that they know who he is, right?
Right.
So I think part of it is I think one of the things is if you really want to grow a business here, it is a decision, right? Like, I mean, it's raining here. Most people on a Saturday morning, they're going to be still in their their PJs and drinking their coffee on a rainy Saturday morning. Like it's making a decision. Like I am deciding that I'm building this business. It's having that intention. So with the previous, because some of it's my age, like I tell people, I'm like, there is, if you are smart, there's wisdom with age. And so for me, starting over essentially, I'm trying to draw like what are the things that I want to bring with me here, and one of them is treating it like a business, making that decision. I am going to grow a reoccurring income. I have certain goals. I teach my team to like write down their goals, to be intentional. What do you want by the end of this year? And if you're new here, what do you want by the end of this year? Write it down and then back it up with activity. Like, what is, if you want $1,000 a week, $2,000 a week, $5,000 a week, you've got to be willing to make the exchange for what you're going, like, there, you have to do something. You don't just think about it, you have to do something to actually see that come to fruition. And I I'm not sure if it's Jim Rohn. I don't know who said this, but I do believe it's very true that we underestimate what we can do in 5 years, but we overestimate what we can do in one. So you overestimate what you can get done in 1 year, but you underestimate five. And one of the things that Todd, I've heard him say from the very beginning that I've been plugging into stuff is that this is a build. This is a build. You've got to give this a solid, he would say to me, and you got to give this a solid 3 to 5 years. Well, I'm actually giving it a solid 5 to 7 of like commitment, all in, hair wet focus, because I want what that will produce. But I don't just want it for me. I want it for anyone that comes with me or that joins Partner Co. in general. I want it for Cindy. I want it for every single person, for them to have this opportunity. One of the reasons I love Darren Zobrist so much and John Wadsworth is that they actually desire for us to have what they have experienced in life. That's really unique. There's a lot of people that they're like, well, I'm really glad I've got it. I don't really care if you have it, right? These guys actually care, and they don't just care. They actually are taking action every single day so that we have an opportunity that is unmatched in the world. Like, so that we can have an extraordinary life, so that we can take extraordinary trips if we want to, so that we can, achieve the goals that we want, donate to the organizations that we want to, like, and have, I tell my team all the time, I'm like, when you have your needs taken care of, then when a need presents itself, it's not hard. You're not like, oh, I wish I could do something. No, you actually can do something. And that feels so good. And people want to be part of something bigger. And we have that with Partner Co. It is bigger. It is extraordinary. I really believe this is a movement more than it is a company. And it is unique, the blurring the lines of sponsorship. Cindy helped me yesterday with a Zoom with some people who are realtors, like someone that I sponsored to a couple that are realtors. Cindy hopped on a Zoom, was on there for an hour yesterday. Cindy does not get paid on anything that I do. I don't get paid on anything Cindy does. That is really unique.
And you know what, Anne, the way I see it, and I've told you this, is because for Partner Co. to hit $1 billion in a multi-billion-dollar company, Cindy Landis can't be the only one to succeed. It's going to take all of us on this call to have a level of success.
Right.
It's going to take a lot of people, right? So, and the more, and Chris, you could talk to this too, the more success others have, the whole company wide has, it doesn't have to be on your team, the more momentum we all get, the more success
Right.
we can all get. When Ann has success, when Chris has success, when Paul has success, when everybody across the company, that's how I see it. Do you see it that way? I mean, I think that's from a business point of view. I can look back at the franchise I owned. My franchise could only do a geographical area of success. But if the brand itself, in this case, Partner Co., had success from the West Coast to the East Coast, or it was a global company, globally, the name was recognized, the
Right.
sign was recognized. When I talked about it, they recognized it. And therefore, um, people were more receptive to what I had to say. So, therefore, if the Partner Co. name is recognized, when you speak to someone, it's more receptive. That's kind of how I look at it, as we're better together.
Absolutely, but that's a business mind,
Yeah.
right? That is a growth mindset. That's a business mindset. That is a and so one of the biggest dangers here is your mindset. Like if you do not have a growth mindset, if you're focused on that everyone else is winning and you're not, if you're focused, if you're like my competition is with Ann Wandishin. I don't have I don't I'm not in competition with anyone else, and I know that there are this industry, it does attract people who are competitive. That's fine. I just want you to know I'm actually I have zero competition with anyone else. I'm just competitive with, am I getting better every day at every, like in every area of my life? That's my goal. It's not just, I'm not like, and I know I texted this to you, Chris. Yes, I'm number 2 power ranker in the world. Awesome. It's a number. There's no pay attached to it. There's but what I love about the power rankers is I love that it's teaching people how to, if you look at the quadrant at the bottom of your dashboard, it teaches you the areas that you need to work on in your business so that you have a strong business. That's all it is. And so I get excited for my team. I celebrate my team when they promote. I celebrate them when they rank up and all that kind of stuff. But what I really want is I want that income hitting their paycheck every Thursday night if you're Chris Doyle, or Friday morning if you're me. And I want it in there consistently. I want their lines optimized. That's my goal. It's not my goal
Yes.
for like my goal is not, yes, do I want great leaders? Of course I do. But my goal is for them, for the work that they do here, for them to see that reward on Friday morning or Thursday night, and for them to go, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I said yes. Who else can I tell? Like, who else needs this? And when they have someone come to them and say, oh my gosh, Cindy, I need to make some extra money. Like, I see that you do that thing. Could you teach me? I'm not really a salesperson. I'm not, I didn't work in real estate like you did. I didn't ever own franchises. Do you think I could do what you do? And for Cindy to be able to turn around and say, yes, if
Right.
you decide to come with me, we have a system that works. We have a product that is viral. We're in over 50 countries. We have, we're a debt-free company. We have committed owners that are building a legacy brand. Like, there is nothing like what we have here. So if you want to do this with me, I can help you. My job is to help you create reoccurring money, income. And I want to help you make that right now money in your pocket, which we get to do in the United States and in Canada with how we get to buy the drops in bulk, or the 888, right? In bulk. We get to make that right now money, but we really want people getting that
Right.
reoccurring income on Friday mornings.
Yeah, you get it'll Todd said it made me lazy. I don't really think that's the case. But the reoccurring income is what obviously everybody wants, but I want you really said something. I hope everybody listened. And that was that she talked about how much she wanted to see her team succeed. And I will tell you, when it's about we and not about me,
Mhm.
I, that was my problem. So you want to know why I struggled early? I had been a big business owner. I'd been used to being the boss. I had employees. I don't have any employees here. I got business partners. I don't have anybody. I don't even like the word upline, downline. I don't like that. We're just partners.
Right.
And especially with Partner Co, it is a blurred line. I don't care about those things as much as I worry about as long as my team is making success, they're getting paid. And I think we all know that from every business. Get people paid, they're going to get more comfortable. But more importantly, it needs to be more about them than it is about you. And that was a problem for me early on. I'll be the first to admit it. I just didn't I had a mindset that had to get changed. And then I realized it was about them. And because I believe it's Zig Ziglar says it, get people what they want, get what
Yeah.
you want.
Yeah.
And so, and honestly, that's what, and you'll say, what did I do different? Your business will just begin to grow. And as the company begins to grow, you'll see your business growing by accident, if that's the right word for it. It's like, wow, it's just growing. And that's a great thing. I mean, that's what you want, but you're really looking for that. You said, yeah, you make some money, and that's a good part. But the new system, this SOG made it where people
Yeah.
could make money right the first week. They could sell some products and they say they don't sell. They just learn to post, learn to run the system, and that's what you're using. And then teach them how to convert, get other people, because that's really all we do. We,
Right.
we find customers and we find customer gatherers. As
That's right.
simple as that. We gather customers and find other. That's a Ken Bailey line, right? Ken Bailey always used to love to say that. We gather customers and we find some customer gatherers. I'm not even sure that's a word, gatherers.
Yeah.
But down south
He
we
said
make
it
up words.
the
We
last
always
time I
make up
heard him
words down
talk.
south, don't we? See,
Ken
you've
said
been
it the
around me long
last.
enough. Though I make up words down south all the time. There
You
may be a
do.
word it's not in the dictionary, but we use it anyway. So so tell me something. You said you were attracted to Partico and you talked about John and Darren and their hearts. I really believe that's what separates the company. Starts at the top, but I
Yep.
also think that the leadership in the field take on, at least in my opinion, takes on the ownership. If it doesn't, then you'll see people leave. And by the way, don't let that ever bother you.
That's right.
Everything's not for everybody. I mean, that's just the way the world works. People, that's the way it is. I mean, people will leave churches and change, and people change. I mean, but you've got to decide what you want, and then you move forward with that. So, where do you see going on with the company? I mean, obviously, we got 15 minutes here before we're kind of the end. I mean,
Oh my
you've been
gosh.
around the industry, so what do you see happening?
So what I see, I see an opportunity like nothing else. It is one of the reasons that I work a lot. Like yesterday, I was over. I had to go help. I didn't have to. I got to go help with my mom, and she has dementia. And she's like, "What are you doing over there? Why are you always on that phone?" And my daughter goes, "She's working, Nana. She's working." I'm like, "I actually am working." But that is why I'm so focused, is because I understand, like, when with my first company I got in and they had like, some exponential, they were in growth, and then we did have the exponential growth. Now, we were really only in a few countries, so that's why what I'm saying is the fact that we're 400 million in so many countries with solid infrastructure, and it's kind of mind blowing, the opportunity we have. We have Moringa coming out, which, I know that you guys know how fantastic that is. What I know is that John and Darren, like you said, they're the best of the best. They've attracted the best of the best on the corporate side. And then I do think that it attracts the right leadership here in the field. And when anytime anyone leaves, this wasn't the place for them. Like, if someone is not in, if like, it kind of blows my mind, but if this is not, like, if they don't love what we have here, it's okay. Like, go find where you do fit in, because here we only want people who want this. That's all we're looking for. I'm looking for people who are looking for me. I'm looking for people who are looking for me, and I want to lock arms with them, and I want to create something with them. We have the opportunity to create something here that has never happened before. and we have the products. We literally have every single piece. Is it perfect? No, it's not. But it is pretty darn good. And when and so what I really believe is that I mean, I do think this is going to be the big. I guess the way one thing that I'll say is that my grandfather was a stockbroker. So was my dearest uncle that passed away about a year and a half ago. And so when I learned that Darren Zobrist was a Goldman Sachs investor, and then he built a company. And like when I learned about who he was, I was like, forget about it. Like that's when I was like, I'm done. Like I am doing this because he's not from this industry. He knows how to build companies. He knows what to do to keep a company going and healthy. Like he's not gonna, like you said, we have everything, you guys. And so one of the issues a lot of times in network marketing is you have someone start a company, but they have zero business experience. They just have a great product, right?
We know that one.
Okay.
So we did that.
Okay, so you've been there, done that. They have this great product, but zero business. And then, or you have someone running the company that they're like what is it called? Like a serial entrepreneur or whatever. Like they're literally just getting it ready to sell. That's it. They just want it. They're just building it to sell. Once it's sold, you have no idea what's coming because everything can change. The product formulation can change. The comp plan can change. The leadership in the home office, like where you don't even know how to get in touch with whomever could actually help you if you're a top leader. Everything can change like that. And so when I see when I saw that Darren, he basically kind of came out of retirement. He's my age. He's had extraordinary success. He wants to build a legacy brand, and he's focused on being able to do that. And for me, I'm just like, why? I'd be an idiot to not do this. And I don't like to use that word, idiot, but I mean, that's how I feel.
Well, it's not for everybody, that's for sure. But if those people wanting a change, especially financial change, and I was venture to say, my wife and I talked last night that the health change that the company gave us was we don't really talk about it as much because I came strictly for the money. Cindy knows I was looking at the comp plan. I've actually been noted for saying no pills, no potions, and no lotions. I mean, that's what I used to be. Till I realized that I needed some of these pills. And funny part was we started with a company and the first thing they introduced was these drops. We were the very first people to ever see those drops. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I can't believe it. They got pills and now they got a potion. So, but didn't know what I didn't know. Right. And what I learned is there was a big difference. But you mentioned Darren. He says he didn't know anything about the industry. But to me, when you look at the company, if you really study what Darren built,
right,
he really was a network marketer. Right. He just didn't have a downlines.
Right. He just basically created a network marketing company for fishermen, right? Yeah. I mean, which is actually even better because he already had done that, not even knowing he had done it.
Let me make a point that for those that don't know Darren or haven't really heard him speak, and I've been around, listen, I have people I know that are billionaires. I mean, Darren was obviously is a billionaire, not a millionaire, a billionaire. Mm-hmm. And they usually will tell you how much they sold their company for and how they built this and how they did that. The first thing I noticed, and Darren doesn't even know this, the one thing he told me was how much fun he had watching these fishermen go from dirt floors in their houses to buying newer trucks, changing. I never once heard him say, and then we sold out for. He just didn't do that.
Right.
And to this day, he still has never done that. But he is so proud of the fact that he changed some lives. And he actually said, when John approached me about this, I never dreamed that I would find something that would give me that same type of fulfillment that I'd gotten before. but I
Right.
saw it at an event. So he went from, I assume you know that. He had no
Yeah.
interest in running the company. He was just going to buy it, turn it over to John, and y'all go do this, and this will be y'all's deal, and we'll have, because he can afford it. Okay. I mean, think about that. Somebody just come up with 40, $50 million and say, no big deal, just go do it. If it works out great, if it don't, it's your baby. Then fell in love with it, and he has to be, because he's traveling about as much as any owner I've ever seen.
I,
I mean, he is out there all over the place.
yeah. And he's not like doing it, he's doing it with joy. I mean, that's the difference, is that it is exuding like from every pore in his body how passionate he is about Partner Co. and helping people. On some video, I don't know if it was on a call that you did with Darren or that I watched, that he said that um it was like, his basically like this wife of a fisherman came up to him and was like, oh my gosh, like, thank you. Like, I can send my child to school now. Like, we have a proper house. And, the fact that he's able, that then he comes over here and buys Partner Co., goes to an event and experiences that, sees that this is the same type of opportunity. I think that's why I really do think that's what drives him and I think it's what drives John. Like, I think that's the thing. I'm just like, they actually want us to have what they have. And
Yeah.
I've never met anyone like that, like them, that have, what I mean, that own a company. I've never met anyone like that.
Well, I think that's one of the things that, if you haven't gotten it from that, obviously they're doing it in a big way. And here's what I want you to realize: that Partner Co., as you as a representative, yeah, they're doing it with hundreds and with thousands of people right now. But if you want your business to succeed, you find that stay-at-home mom that needs you, and you stick to her side till she gets what she needs. And then you find that next stay-at-home mom, or it doesn't have to be a mom. I'm just using that for an example. You find that person who needs to succeed, and you do exactly what they're doing. And that was the part that, as I told you in the beginning, I was just wanting to be the boss. Then when I finally had some experience of somebody calling me and saying, I don't know what to do. I've never had this big a paycheck before on a Friday. Cindy knows the person. I'm not going to call their name. They called and said, we're in the state of shock. And I'm like, okay, what do you mean? They said, this is the first Friday. I may even tear up. It's the first Friday we have gotten money because we got paid, and we don't know, we don't have any bills. I said, excuse me? And like, well, we paid everything up. And we've never been in a position that everything, we didn't have to decide, where is this money going to go? We don't know what to do because we're actually ahead for the first time in our marriage in 15 years. We have a check that we don't have pre-spent before it gets here. Well, guys, I can't tell you what that did to me. I know it was big for them, but all at once I went from being like, wow, this ain't about me.
Yeah.
It's about them. And the feeling I had, I still get warm and fuzzy right now. You know how long ago that was? 22 years. And they called and said that. And she was in tears. Guys, when you begin to realize it's about your team, yes, Chris Doyle will tell you 100%. I do this for me, and I did it for my family, and did it for my grandkids. But when you begin to do it for the team, when you begin to do it to see other people succeed, I can already tell. I didn't even know Ann what she was going to say, but I can tell you pour yourself into seeing other people succeed. So when someone says, what makes a great leader? Brent Palmer has become one of my best friends. We're sidelined. Todd, by the way, is my personal sponsor. Ann may not know that. I was the first person Todd brought here.
Nice.
Very first. We went together. Cindy was with me. She was my first person. So we're right that close. But when I met Brent, I saw the heart of someone that I wanted to work with. We're sidelined. We've become great friends. But I see Brent's heart. That's what he is always worrying about, how someone else is. So if there's a tip that Ann said, we didn't dwell on it. It's about your team, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Like, I mean, honestly, it's like when you can help people, like truly help them. And, I mean, I know for me, I'm sure there's a lot of people on my team that I believe in them more than they believe in themselves. And so
Absolutely.
I'm trying to help them to get to like, this is what I see when I see you. And they might be down here. The goal is to get for them to see what I see. And I think that's really kind of how we all are, right? We all know our own faults,
Sure.
right? So it's easy for us to like not view ourselves in the light that maybe others see us. So when you speak that life and that love and you really encourage people, it like I this is the thing that this is the thing with Partner Co. What I saw with Partner Co, which I never saw before. So I've been in this industry for over 20 years and I'd never seen. I saw leader after leader get unlocked. Like it was like unlocking their greatness one after the other, and that's because we have all those pieces in place. And then if they are able to like believe in themselves, speak life into themselves and to others, and to help serve other people, it's like they continually unlock their greatness at new levels, and then it's like they soar. It's like they just take off, and it's like nothing I've ever seen before, and so I get super excited about that because I know that it's once someone experiences that, like they're like, I can do this, right? I'm doing this. It's like they're unstoppable. If they keep going, they're unstoppable, you know?
Those are, and you basically told everybody the blueprint. The biggest problem with most people, and you wonder is that they don't want to follow the blueprint. And I see someone every day. I see people that like they want to rewrite they
Sure.
want to do it a new way. And that's, by the way, the guy that I mentioned. One of the things I told him when he started that, because he was lived away from me, and back then we didn't have Zooms. I couldn't run up there and I had to go up there and camp out with him for a while. I said, you're going to have to do it my way for 6 months, and after 6 months, if you want to do it another way, but so use the SOG. Listen to the leaders. Don't try to rewrite the wheel. That's what so many people want to rewrite the script and do it a different way. Hill, you've gotten to be an expert. Don't do that.
Yeah.
See anything you want to mention? I know you know Ann well, so anything else you want to ask her, add to it?
No, I can't add to that. I mean, she is who she is. What you see is what you get with Ann. She's a heart of gold and she's sincere on helping people, and it shows and it bleeds out to other leaders to want to do better on that as well, Chris, just like you said. I think we all get in this industry to help ourselves, right? I had to save myself. I was losing money left and right. You had to help yourself. Most of us come in with a need or a want or a desire for us, for our family, and then at some point it switches, and you realize that the more you help others, and it's the biggest gift you can give. I know when I see people, when I have those messages, Chris, like you were referring to, it changes you, and it's so important. So, Anne, thank you for all of that, because you can't top what she does. She's just pure hearted, and it's amazing. She's great.
2 minutes left, Ann. Close us out. What you want to say to them?
You know what? What I would just say is, to all of you, is that you can do this. This is not just for me. It's not just for Cindy. It's not just for Chris. It's not just for Todd and Ashley Rowland. It is for all of us. How many people on here? All 157 of us that are on this morning. Anyone watching to this recording, this is for you. This is your opportunity. And I believe that if you dig in and you do the SOG, you work on your mind, you work on yourself harder than you work on your business, and you focus on having that heart of service, you will grow. Are there growing pains? Of course there are. I mean, there's always resistance, always comes when you're about to break through. I mean, like, right? I mean, we just need Kristen Doyle White to come on here and tell us that, right? So it's like, but if you want this, commit to yourself, commit to your family, commit to your team, commit to working this and treating this with the focus and intention and tenacity and persistence, and and everyone's journey is different, but it will happen. Like it, I mean, of course we can't guarantee anything, but what I will tell you is that the people who keep showing up, like they might start down here as like a little, a little robin, but eventually they keep working. They will be an eagle. They will. They will soar like an eagle. And so it's like, what do you want to be? I want to be the eagle. I want to soar like the eagle, but I don't want to do it by myself. I want everyone to come with me. I want them to soar at those heights because I know that their vision will grow for their life and for their business. I mean, going to Maui, I'm going to tell you right now, I've been on a lot of trips like that. There's nothing like a partner co-trip. And I was totally blown away. My vision grew for my life. It grew for my business. And true confessions, when I started here, I was like, I don't need to go on those trips. Like, I really did. I was like, I've done that. And I made a decision that I was going to go, that I am going to participate in that. And I knew that I needed it. And then when I went, I was blown away. So what I want more than anything else is for all of you to know that this is possible for you. So every single day, Les Brown, it's possible. It's possible. It's possible. You keep telling yourself it's possible. It is. But you've got to you got to cancel all the negative junk up here and replace it with the truth. So I could go on and on, Chris.